You're tuned in to Repco Muscle Garage, the home of New Zealand's toughest muscle cars, hot rods and street machines. Proudly brought to you by Repco, in association with Mount Shop, Maguire's and Rizlone. This week, an action-packed Season 9 send-off. We throw it back to early-style hot rods and hill climbs with Franklin's Speed Shop, and we shed raid Tauranga Gravel Motor Garage. But before all that, thanks to the nice folk at Maguire's, we're many dragway bound to get up to speed with the Outlaw 71 series. A relatively new class here in New Zealand, but one all about bringing back good old-fashioned blown quarter-mile action.
Well, it's based on the conventional supercharger, big supercharger on top of the motor. There's various combinations of turbocharger and supercharger, but the conventional base, we believed, always sounded cool. They're loud, they can be a bit unpredictable, instant power. Conventionally based blown cars, they were working in a field called Supercharged Outlaw. As times changed, there was the likes of turbos, nitrous oxide, pro chargers, and it was sort of felt that a lot of these old style had moved away from that particular class. So we decided to gain it back and have all of these conventionally based cars in there. And the car's fairly well open to anything with a conventionally based blower on it. They have to go fast in 7.99 seconds and they can't go quicker than 6.5. But combinations of car and motor, doored cars, you know, we've seen many around. We've seen old hot rods that look very much like old hot rods, early, say, Falcons and that sort of thing. And then we have the original base of what drag racing was about. I mean, it started in the States years and years, 50s, and they started to make extended wheelbase front engine dragsters. So then the nostalgia look within the group, which are fantastic, got quite a big following. A few of the rear engine dragsters. We've got what we call the flop of the funny car, where the whole body lifts up on the car, and what we call altereds. Altereds have always been a handful of a drive. We put on the show, yeah, great field of cars, very mixed, drivers from all over New Zealand, their crews and races, fantastic.
We caught up with the Outlaw 71 class in this, their third outing of the 21-22 summer season at Merimeri. Piggybacking Napa Auto Parts Dragway's second competition meeting meant the class shared the quarter with some great and very rapid company. However, the truly average weather forecast saw a few familiar faces missing from the usual series lineup. Crowd favourites like the green Go Topolino front-engine dragster and the Szymanski Dinosaur Fiat Altered, not to mention the occasional casualty as the day progressed too. The Outlaw 71 class was established a little over 4 years back by Gavin Doughty and Todd Aitken, and the throwback to old-school supercharged action has proven popular ever since, with crowds and competitors alike, dragging more than a few races back into the mix. An early loss doesn't put you back on the trailer. The racer return format paving the road for a full day's racing. Clearly no one is shooting for second when lining up at the tree, but back in the pits, camaraderie is king.
Everyone gets on. However, we do have the odd one that sort of likes to throw a little bit of banter around and just wind each other up and that. But at the end of the day, when you're sitting down having a barbecue at the end and a few beers, they're all mates. Yeah.
People will leave here at the end of the season, they will come back in 6 months' time and you'd think they'd had a conversation a week ago with other racers. Yeah, it's just cool. In New Zealand, they punch above their weight. For the budget that we have in New Zealand, they go fast, they lend each other parts, and pretty unheard of in other countries, maybe Aussies a little bit close to us, just to get the passion, to get it going. And once you're in there, it's hard to get out the groove of this sport. It's cool.
It's quite unexplainable, really. It's all the hard work that goes into it. You only need one good run to forget all about the bad shit that's, you know, that it's taken you to get there. Yeah, it's a blast, and yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything else. No.
There's some particular drivers in our class that have their own style of racing, there's no doubt about that, but really the car style, they are instant horsepower. The average in the field is probably about 7.4 seconds. We've got faster and we've got slightly slower, but like they shouldn't be going anything slower than 7.99. So they're pretty rapid over the quarter mile. You know, that's a fast car. Our best are in 6-second passes, and age we've got them all. We've got from young to more senior. A couple of our gentlemen are in their 70s and they love it. And they're just as fast, just as competitive.
Despite the weatherman's grim warning, Many Dragway's Comp 2 meeting got through the day unscathed and even saw a few PBs clocked along the way. Taking out the honours in the Outlaw 71 bracket was Whangarei's Ross Brown in the Mistress FED. The blown 407 Cube Chevy powered dragster consistently clocking low sevens all day. The next big one coming up quick on the calendar is Mayhem at Masterton, where the Outlaw 71 crew take on their heavy hitters from the Mount Shop Wild Bunch. Put a big circle around the 12th and 13th of Feb for what's sure to be an epic weekend's racing at Masterton Motorplex.
Cars are quick, loud, noisy, dangerously unpredictable. Great, come and see us, Outlaw 71. Won't find anything better in this country.
Right, thanks to our good mates at Mount Shop, we're shed raiding. This week, it's the impressive collection and workshop of Gravel Motor Garage in Tauranga. The man at the helm, long-time hot rodder, Dave Best.
Well, pretty much from school. My best mate, his father had a Camaro back in, this was in Caddy College we were in, and in the fifth form we built our first car, which was a little Ford Pop. It was good enough for us to drive around the places. I remember we went to one swap meet in Auckland, 4 of us in it. We were coming back through the Waihi Gorge and I fell asleep, rolled the car. The funny thing was there was a Mark IV gearbox in the back that went flying around as we rolled. That prompted us the next week to chop it. So it started at school. I've been sort of passionate about cars ever since. If you've got a passion for cars, you can turn it into a business. It just evolves from there. I suppose if you've got some knowledge and experience, and that comes from years of being involved with cars, you want to pass that on to other people, and you want to put it to good use. So this was a good opportunity to get a building and put all my cars in, and what better than to start restoring them and some others. And we've had plenty of customers come and see us, so yeah, it's progressing along nicely.
Dave's a familiar face at rod and custom events around the land and seems to have just the right vehicle for any occasion. Behind the wheel of his highly strung Hemi Gasser or this circuit carving Corvette. Chopped and custom classics to a dirt tracking Durant. That variety has continued through to his day job, Gravel Motor Garage. The shop floor hosts to all forms of wild and wonderful, and that mix means there's no copying and pasting from job to job.
Anything out of the ordinary is a challenge, and you've got to be creative. You've got to come up with good ideas, and one, it's got to be functional, and another is obviously form. It's got to look the part. So yeah, it does make you think, and that is a challenge. It's rewarding too to do that.
And Dave's own hot rodding history sure comes in handy when helping his customers navigate their way through the build process. Skipping the come and go trends for a timeless finish and a car that's no chore to drive.
A steer in the right direction or in a direction. I think it's just open dialogue. I think it's communicating with the customer and seeing what they actually want, but also giving them some ideas to get that end result for them. I believe old cars have the look, the classic, and I think the best thing you can do to any old car is improve the way it drives, so you can get out on the road and stick with traffic, go around corners well, brake, so that you've got the safety aspect, you've got the comfort aspect, and you've still got the traditional styling. That's where I see things.
Hot rods are well represented in this Tauranga workshop, but there are a couple of neat customs under the knife too. Dave's own Caddy is the subject of an ongoing evolution. The chopped 53 sports a heap of clever custom touches, and there's plenty more planned. While sitting pretty centre stage is something a bit different for a starting point. Not your usual custom canvas.
It started out life as a 48 Packard. The customer, Rex, he's built well-known cars over the years. This one was obviously different, and he chose it because it was different. In their original form, they're not the greatest. They are an ugly duckling. It has evolved from the initial concept, which was just a top chop, but now we're obviously moving the grille around, the bumpers around, just to try and improve it. The point of difference in it is that, yes, it's on a Morrison chassis, and it will have all the suspension upgrades, etc., and it will have a automatic transmission. The point of difference is sticking with the original flathead engine, the straight 8. We're going to perk that up a little bit. It's got a McCulloch blower going on, but that will make it stand out. But it won't be no slouch on the road either. It will make it purr along. The customers wanted it to be different. It must still be classified as a Packard and look like one in some respects, but we're just trying to improve on the styling. We're trying to make things flow in, and that's the challenging thing, is have an end result that's going to look nice on the road and will drive nice.
The Packard will be one to watch out for, though we're picking it'll be hard to miss. Gravel Motor Garage's track record of turning out neat old stuff speaks for itself, and with a workshop laden like this one, you'd be brave to bet against that run being broken anytime soon. For the man at the helm, that hot rod bug doesn't seem to be going anywhere fast.
I think it's the best one that you could catch at the moment. Hopefully the government doesn't come in and try and control that bug.
Protection of hybrid ceramic.
Whoa.
Now in 3 easy-to-use products. In original spray wax, now as a liquid wax, and a spray detailer. Meguiar's hybrid ceramic family with advanced SiO2 technology. Meguiar's, ceramic made easy.
Rizlone has been in engines almost as long as engines have been in cars. Why? Because from then until now, there's never been a perfectly clean fuel. This means every time you fill up, you're adding pollutants and contaminants to your fuel system. Rizlone Fuel Injector Cleaner can cure those woes and help save your engine. Rizlone Fuel Injector Cleaner adds an upper cylinder lubricant, providing double the cleaning power out of the same bottle. We know something about aging well, so when we say it's your engine's fountain of youth under a screw top, you can count on it. Rizlone is the original engine tune-up, available at participating stores near you.
You're back with Repco Muscle Garage. Right, thanks to Rizlone, we're taking a look back at the way things were through the eyes of a gentleman many decades younger. Traditional early-style hot rodding with Luke Enyon of Franklin Speed Shop.
Yeah, I brought up in it. Mad Fabricators, watching that sort of stuff when I was young, and this stuff just, I don't know, sticks with you really. You can't shake it. I've tried that many times. No, they're badass. They're noisy, they shake and rattle, and they were built to scare people, and they still do that now. The simplicity of driving them is, you've got to be aware of what you're doing the whole time you're driving them, but they're just fun.
The precursor to hot rodding was born in the Prohibition era. Automobiles hopped up by bootleggers out to evade the long arm of the law. Hot rods, more like the ones we know now, first appeared in the late 30s, where they were raced on the dry lake beds of Southern California. But the hobby really boomed post-war, when young men returned home and focused their newly acquired mechanical skills to the readily accessible vehicles of the era, most of them early Fords. Skip ahead some 70 years, and a modern hot rod can be a very different animal. Injected late-model power and reliability sitting over computer-designed and tuned suspension, while the cabin is home to creature comforts like digital dashes and aircon. For Luke, however, growing up around the more old-school approach meant those late-model distractions were never really on the radar. And nothing changed when he and his wife Teresa set up their business, Franklin Speed Shop, about 5 years back.
Pretty much the Black Roadster was a friend of my father's, and he approached me about finishing it off for him. So I brought that one in here and started doing a bit of work on it, and then from that another client come round, I guess, and said, hey look, I'll get you to finish mine off too for me. So at one point we had like 4 Model A's projects in here getting worked on. So it was actually, the wife said, this looks starting to look a bit serious, maybe we should look at doing it, and that's kind of where it started, yeah. I had to do it. If I didn't do it, I know I'd definitely be regretting it, but I had to have a go. So mainly heavy fabrication, chassis fabrication, and we try and do the more traditional style stuff. Hence with the louver press and some of the older techniques that we do here. Yeah, we're not here to reinvent the wheel as such. There's always different ways of doing it, and if we can do it slightly different but achieve the same goal, we'll have a go at it. And you might make that slightly different than you may have done the first time, but yeah, there's always a different way of doing it.
While that traditional styling and build techniques might still be the blueprint decades on, today's bigger challenge perhaps is sourcing those early pieces of the puzzle, both Henry Ford original and era-correct speed parts.
You've got to be the right person in the right spot at the right time sort of stuff. Everyone knows the value of stuff now, which is making it harder, but you still can build a reasonably priced car, and we've done it here, and we've done it for a few friends of ours now. We've put cars together for them that haven't cost a lot of money, but they're just having just as much fun in them as anyone else does in their high-dollar vehicle.
And scavenging original parts might not just be easier on the wallet when compared to a big buck street rod, but the finished article is the sum of parts, each with their own tale to tell and soul.
So end of the day, they've got a product that they are very proud of, and they feel that they know the history of where some of the stuff has come from.
And it's that love of what's come before him in shaping New Zealand's hot rodding history that's prompted Luke to press on outside the doors of Franklin Speed Shop too, teaming up with mate Tony to throw back to the early era of the hobby in the form of reliability runs and this, the Saints Hill Climb, an invite-only gathering dedicated to the good old days, pre-overhead valves.
Dad was one of the foundation members of the Pukeko Hot Rod Club, which started off as the Saints Hot Rod Club. When they went to get affiliated with the New Zealand Hot Rod Association, the word is they said, no, Saints doesn't sound too good, sounds like a motorbike club, so they then changed it to the Pukeko Hot Rod Club. But in those days, it was pretty cool. I mean, these guys were all in their 30s, you know, all flathead powered coupes, trucks. That influenced my life, you know, when I was young, because we thought that was the norm. We didn't, you know. And then, of course, they were all roaring around, and every time they went to a different clubhouse, they would identify a road there and they would have a race up it. It wasn't sanctioned or anything like that. It was just a few boys, you know, seeing how fast they could get up the Smedal Road. And that was, you know, basically the Saints Hill Climb sort of started there. Luke came along and we said, hey, let's resurrect that. That's a cool name. You know, let's get some old cars similar to what they had in the day. In fact, that's the only cars that we're interested in coming out there. So a bunch of guys all got together and yeah, and we're out there and have a laugh and just celebrate that type of racing. We demonstrate the cars up this road, you know, there's not a big emphasis on competition, it's just basically having old Model A powered, flathead V8 powered, old race cars or road cars that can go up the hill and yeah, get together and have a laugh.
Been in my head a long time, probably, yeah, since we went to the Race of Gentlemen back in 2016. I come back from that and said, Teresa, we've got to do something. And that's when we kind of approached Tony and said we wanted to do something locally. We needed to find somewhere to have it, and that's what got the ball rolling as such. I grew up with my parents going to the early hot rod stuff and the likes of Ralph Wright, and Kingsley Hughes used to be always around at our place. I grew up with those older guys, so I just think it was really cool what they were doing. They weren't doing it because they wanted to try something different, they were just doing it because that's what they did. So yeah, it's out of respect for them, I wanted to, you know, bring the Saints name into it and just try and keep that memory there of what they used to do. We will try and keep doing it. When we went into it, we wanted to do it properly. And if it was going to be pre-50s, it was going to be pre-50s, right down to the hand-painted banners. And it was just trying to take people back in time to that era with the old photos that we go through that we found and all sitting around having a barbecue with these old cars. That's pretty much what it was built around, was a barbecue and a paddock. And then it evolved slightly from there to a few demonstration runs. So if we can just keep that going, that's our main goal, yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of classes for racing out there, you know, like from muscle car racing where, you know, you're talking cars with 860 horsepower, some of them there, you know. Really fast speeds, these cars are the same as, you know, very similar speeds to the supercars. And all the stuff that goes with that, you know, big money, special engineering and that, and the guys love that, you know, and you've got rally cars and all that. This is not about competition, this is just about, reliving what happened those times. So instead of dealing with a 600-700 horsepower small block Chev, you've got an old flathead. It's got the same challenges, to make it go good, but it's just the old stuff, and just turning up with a traditional car that would have fitted in 1960 is pretty cool. That's where the kudos comes from, looking at those cars, how the engineering's done, and seeing them perform, and actually they all go pretty good. You can have as much fun going up a metal hill climb in an old V8 that you can in other types of racing, but the emphasis is not on competition. It's not having to beat the next guy. You're really just having fun driving up the road like it used to be when we were kids,
If the Saints Hill Climb looks like your kind of deal, then get in contact with Luke or Tony via Franklin's Speed Shop. Your ride needs some love? We've got you sorted. Thanks to our mates at Maguire's, we have this massive complete car care pack worth over $760 to give away. Plus, a $500 Mount Shop voucher to keep the underside ship-shape too. And to top it off, 1 year subscription to NZ V8 magazine. To enter, simply head to themotorhood.com and hit the Repco Muscle Garage link. The winner will be drawn at the end of the series. Easy. During this year's Repco Supercars Championship season, the garage is your go-to place for all things supercars and motoring. Exclusive content, special guests, and your chance to win amazing experiences at the track. Register your interest today. Repco Muscle Garage was proudly brought to you by Repco. It starts with the parts. Mount Shop, undercar specialists. Maguire's, people who love cars love Maguire's. And Rislo, high-performance additives for high-performance vehicles.